All right, everyone. All right, players. Yesterday we played really, really well. We had 4 games in one day. We're the team that had to play 4 games in one day, besides the 4-5 matchup. The other teams were able to get in and play a game on Friday. It helped us to play our 2 pool games on Saturday travel wise. So that was good. But we were pushed really, really hard yesterday, and playing 4 games in one day, and I thought we did extremely well. It all starts with our efficiency in the field. We've talked time and time again, when we can make the other team throw us more pitches than we throw them, we're in a good situation. And we were throwing strikes yesterday. In all 4 games, we only threw 4 pitchers yesterday, which was great. Every pitcher threw a complete game. In all 4 games, our pitchers threw more strikes than balls. And in 3 of 4 of those games, we threw well over twice as many strikes as we did balls. And one game was right there at the cusp of that 2-to-1 ratio as well. So just running down real quick through the pitches that were thrown. The Marlins, we threw them 52, they threw us 95. The Diamondbacks, we threw them 53, they threw us 86. The 9K Diamonds, we threw them 40. They threw us 73. And the Beast, we threw 70. They threw us 107 pitches in that final game. So for a total, we threw 215 pitches for the tournament. We saw from our opponents 361 pitches. So we had a plus 146 pitch differential. That's really, really good. We saw 146 additional pitches that our opponents threw us than we had to throw them. We scored 50 runs, 51 runs yesterday, and gave up 18. So we had a plus 33 differential. We had 38 hits yesterday to 17. And so we were really, really good doing being efficient and being efficient in the field, and doing well at the plate, seeing the ball really well, getting hits really well. I mean, we had a plus 19 hit differential as well. So we were in the positive category all day yesterday. And what was really, really good to see is we struggled that first game. We committed 6 errors that first game. Um, we got off to a positive start in the first inning, hit a home run, got a few runs in, and then we immediately came back and we gave up. We scored 3 runs in the first inning. We came back and gave up 4 runs, and then we buckled down after that. We locked in after that, and so we overcame mistakes yesterday. We made errors in every game, and at this point, that's probably going to happen, for both teams that we play, in most games. Um, but we were able to overcome that because we were being efficient. Our pitchers didn't get rattled when mistakes were made, or didn't get rattled when they didn't get the calls they wanted, and we just kept making pitches. Fielders were able to back each other up. We had one time yesterday, that the ball went to the fence, and that was a gapper, that we needed to run down. We didn't let the ball past us, um, for extra bases, or for 2 or 3 bases last night or yesterday. We had one time where we had an error in the outfield that allowed an extra base, and that was it. And these teams were hitting to the outfield, especially when we were playing in that last game against the Beast. They were hitting to the outfield a lot, and we were holding them to 1 run, or 1 base, which is really, really important because for the pitcher's mentality, for the defense's mentality, for all of us, it's a completely different, mentality, or completely different feeling when there's a runner on first versus when there's a runner on second or third. So if they get the first hitter, the first batter on base, but they only get him to first base. That's a lot different feeling than if he's standing on second or even third base, with no outs. And so I thought we did extremely well yesterday. One thing that I want to say is, or a couple things I want to say. One is, players enjoy this because you go into these tournaments, and as we've said, every game's a game, and all games are important to me and to us. And um, every time that we step out there, we want to do well, and we want to compete, and we want to, hold up to our standard and our expectations. Um, and when you play in these tournaments, you'll have four or five teams in a tournament, sometimes more. And that means, if there's five teams in the tournament, that means you have 20% chance of winning the tournament. If there's four teams, you have 25% chance winning the tournament. It's always kind of stacked against you, right? The statistics are always stacked against you as far as your ability to make it through the whole tournament and win the whole tournament. And we did that. And so enjoy it because it's not something that happens to teams all the time. Um, and so we're gonna enjoy this one. We're gonna celebrate this one and have some fun with this one, and then get ready to move on to and keep learning. Um, Turn the page and look at what we're learning and how we're moving forward. The second thing I want to tell about expectations, and a lot of the parents don't know this. Last on Friday night, we talked about expectations. We said, we're starting to win some, and we're starting to play. You win some, you lose some. Right now in the season, we're 8-7-1. And so I said, what are the expectations? Well, the expectations are you know what you're doing in the field. When you go out to the field, when we warm up, you know what you're doing. It starts at warm-ups. You know what you're doing when you're throwing, when you're stretching, and then when we say stations, you know where you're going in your stations, depending on what position you're going to be playing that game. Then when you get out in the field, you know what you're doing. You're constantly talking to each other. You're not standing still. No one stands still in our defensive alignment. And so that's an expectation, and you're thinking about what to do before the ball gets to you, because we've talked about once the ball gets to you, you can't really think at that point. You just have to react. So all the thinking goes before that. That's sort of why baseball is a slower game because it gives you the opportunity to think before the play happens. So then when the play happens, you can just react and you can do what you're supposed to do. At bat, what are the expectations? The expectations are when you're on deck, you're watching the pitch, you're timing the pitch, or even before that, you're timing the pitcher at the beginning of the inning when they're warming up or watching other people bat. You're talking to your teammates through their at bats. You're encouraging teammates. You're talking to each other. You're supporting each other. When you get up to bat, before you get in, you hear your walk-up song and you're walking up. You're looking at me. You're looking at me for signals. And then after every pitch, you put one foot out of the box and you look at me. You get on base. You can celebrate getting on base and feel good about getting on base, but you still have to be looking at me and you have to be listening to your coaches. Those are the expectations. We talked about expectations are the things that we can control. Those are what we expect, and that is our standard. Um, and when we do those and we do them well, we have a tournament like we did yesterday, where the results take care of themselves. Now, sometimes we're going to do all of those things right, and a game is not going to come out our way because maybe we're facing a guy that we did a couple weekends ago that he just has a great stuff that day, and we're trying to find a way to get on base and we're trying to find a way to make contact and things like that. There are going to be other days where we don't hold up to our standard, and those are the days that maybe we'll win, but they're not going to feel as great as it did yesterday, because those are our standards. Those will be our standards moving forward. Those are our expectations. And so when you do those things, the outcome tends to take care of itself, however it's gonna come out. A lot of times we may not have control over that, but we control the things that we can. Those are the expectations. The last thing I want to say to the players is enjoy this because as I said, it doesn't happen for teams all the time. But also realize that this came from the work that you've put in. Okay. This came from the hours of work that you've put in. So far, we've had 55 practices. We've had 24 games. We've had two scrimmages. We have practiced, or sorry, we have been together as a baseball team and played a total of 7,290 minutes, 121 and a half hours. That's where yesterday came from. And that's where future success will come from. And that's where future setbacks and frustrations will come from as well, is just being able to stick to what you can control, controlling those things and not worrying about other things. And just, playing as a team, supporting each other. That's how we got where we were yesterday. And that's what we'll continue to do. And I'm really excited to see what we can continue to do and how we can continue to learn. So, great job yesterday. As I said, yet last night for the week, we were 5-1 on the week. So that's a really good week as well. And then, we'll look forward to this week and look forward to some more baseball and some more learning. Thanks, everybody.